We're currently fighting a war on terror, and this lasted for a number of years, but most Americans have no clue that this is deja vu. This is actually round 2 in the war on terror. We actually sent 4 military expeditions overseas to the same region where we're fighting now to fight Muslim terrorism back then. We spent literally 32 years fighting Muslim terrorism, from 1784 in the Continental Congress through the presidency of George Washington and John Adams and Thomas Jefferson and James Madison up until 1816. For 32 years we fought Muslim terrorism. Matter of fact, George Washington, by 1795, the 7th year of his administration, 16% of the federal budget was dedicated to the war on terror. Our first 3 diplomats that were sent by America to negotiate with Muslim terrorists were John Adams and Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin. And you read their letters back to the State Department, and you'd think it's coming out of Afghanistan or Iraq today.
You're watching a special look back at Founders Fridays. You might remember we kicked off the series with this man right here, Sam Adams. Faith. Sam Adams. Most people know him as the beer guy. But Sam Adams had faith in God, faith in our country, and faith that there would be freedom. He was the delegate from Massachusetts. He had been involved in the cause of independence from the very beginning. He had, by this time, earned the title Father of the American Revolution. Didn't make him popular with the British. The British virtually destroyed his home. He had to leave his family for long periods of time. He was in continual danger of capture and death, always. But Adams had a faith in God, and he had a faith in the cause of liberty, and that's what was needed. Faith. He spoke to his fellow congressmen. This is after we lost in Brandywine and things were looking bleak, and Congress gets together, and he stood in front of Congress and he said, "Gentlemen, your spirits appear oppressed with the weight of public calamities." He then told them, "You don't show that to the American people." He told Congress, quote, "Our affairs, it is said, are desperate. If this be our language, then they are indeed. If we wear long faces are going to become fashionable. The eyes of the people are upon us." Sam Adams knew that if Congress openly showed their fear to the people, the cause of liberty would be over, because people will follow and say, it was like when George Washington wept. "I don't think our leaders should be crying." He also told them, now imagine, these are the people that signed the Declaration of Independence. These are the brave, brave people. He said, "We have proclaimed to the world our determination to die freemen rather than slaves. We have appealed to heaven for the justice of our cause, and in heaven we have placed our trust." How great is that? How many of us have that faith now where we can say, "I trust you. I trust you. Our cause is just." Ira, you are here because of your book. It changed my my course. Ira Stoll wrote Samuel Adams, A Life. And I read this and I remember bringing it in and saying, my gosh, I'd bring it into work every day and I'd read it to people and I'd go, did you know this? And those are my paintings. These are copies of them, but that is the reason why Sam Adams' faith is because of your book. It's amazing. We also have David Barton here from Wall Builders, and I want to spend some time just getting to know this guy a little bit. First of all, did you know who you were going to find when you started doing research for your book?
Well, I had a vague idea that he was one of the most steadfast of the Founding Fathers, but I really didn't know what motivated it. And you're right, it really was the faith. And as I got into it, I saw that Samuel Adams really believed that God was on the side of the Americans and that they were like the Israelites fleeing slavery in Egypt.
Yeah, it was amazing. David, but he wasn't unique in that, was he? But he was probably the leader at the time, or the most...
He was probably the leader. The British actually called him the puppet master, and they knew that he was behind things, and that's why they wanted his body. I mean, that order you read was, go find him, find Hancock, kill him. If we can get these guys killed, we're going to save this thing.
Now, he is a guy, we're separation of church and state, we're not a religious, and that is the big lie here.
Yeah.
We are. These guys all defended religions.
Yeah.
They would go, because people would say, well, no, you're not going to be that religion.
Yeah.
But they said, no, no, no. You can be as religious as you want.
That's right.
You don't go after another religion. It's not about one religion. We need to be religious people. But he wrote the Massachusetts Constitution, or he was involved in the Massachusetts Constitution.
He was one of the foremost writers. He and his second cousin John Adams and Hancock were really the principal guys behind that. And John Adams is the one who wrote the foreword for all of this, but Sam had his fingers all over this.
I am Samuel Adams. I was named after the boy prophet, and I'm related to him. And every day I get told, oh, you're related to that beer guy. And it infuriates me. Like there's never really a good, quick answer. Like what's like the defining thing that he did? Because nobody knows. People say he was the president, which is, people don't know their history at all in America. So what is it? What's the one thing I say to these people? What did he do?
A couple things. One, can I respond to the beer thing? He owned what was called a malt house, and malt back then is not beer today. And by the way, that didn't do well. He didn't do well in any business he had, but he had a malt house. But according to founding father Benjamin Rush, who's called the father of temperance, he said neither malt nor wine nor beer could you get drunk on in the founding era. It had just enough alcohol to kill the bugs in the water, and that was it. So it wasn't even a beer that we consider today. That's a complete misnomer. They've stuck his name on something that really was not his. The thing you can say about him is there is no America as the United States without the leadership of Sam Adams. That's why they called him the father of the American Revolution.
Next, this guy, Hope.
You're watching the Glenn Beck special on Founders Fridays. More to come in a moment.